I want to talk to you about today is authoritarianism. And authoritarianism it's a big word, and one that I was not familiar with until I started doing the research. But when I read the profile of it, I was just dumbfounded by how incredibly accurate it is with the leadership that I was under. And there were some things that happen when you're in this type of dynamics that is very hard for you to be able to get control of your own life. Authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is where somebody claims to have power, and that power that they have supersedes your thoughts, your feelings, and who and what you are. They no longer care about an individual person, but that person is there to gratify and to lift the person that's up in power. We see it in many different things. It's very easy now when you're looking for it to identify it. Evangelism. In the video, TV evangelism, someone said there might be something more sinister than just, their name or lifting the person up. In actuality, there is something more sinister. It's called imprinting. And imprinting means where somebody will set up an icon, and that icon is an image of whatever it is that they want you to buy into or to uphold or to lift up or to value. We see it a lot in different countries that communism, where a dictator is set up in power, an authoritarian figure is set up, and we'll see their imagery on billboards. We'll see statues of them. We'll see, every place that we go, that imprinting of that imagery is everywhere. So subconsciously and subliminally, who is the power source, who is dominating, controlling force of that whole place. It's very easy to identify, and when that control and that domineering fascist faction is taken out, what happens is they rip down the imagery and they pull down the statues, and freedom is proclaimed. We see it a lot in different countries, and I think that we could probably go back in the archives of our mind and the news flashes that we have seen and say, oh yeah, that's what was happening. Yeah, we also see it in different places where they want to have power to command, and that is where they put the imagery of the person that is in power over and controlling, domineering. Places that we'll be able to see, be able to look at, be able to identify. Have to be in a religious context. It could be in a relationship of a country. It could be in a relationship of a man and a woman. It could be a woman over a man or a man over a woman. It could be a parent over a child. It could actually be a child over a parent. But what happens is that person wants to dominate and control another person, and they will use whatever tactics they can to gain power. They will use fear. They will use intimidation. They will use shame. They will use condescending remarks. They will use their friends. They will use acquaintances. They will belittle them in a crowd and make the crowd look at them, at the person that they're focusing on, to use them to manipulate that person to do what they want them to do. Authoritarianism is very sly, very cunning, and it's very, very hard to detect in some places, because when you watch somebody going out of control and you look at them and you're thinking, what's wrong with that person? That person's nuts. Well, it may not be that person. It may be that person that is stung by the bee of authoritarianism, and so they're trying to recoil, or trying to gain their posture, or to regain their composure, to get away or get out, or to just survive. And so there's a lot of things that happen in authoritarianism dynamics that for someone that has not studied out, somebody that does not understand the dynamics, it's going to be very hard for them to identify. And so we have to look at what is authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is that person gains all power, all control. They are the end and the means to the whole kit and caboodle, whatever they're connected with. And that person is the endorsement rubber stamp committee of whatever it is. Oh, have you asked Pastor so-and-so? Are you rebellious? Are you unsubmissive? Ah, love that word. It's the most incredible word of abuse and taken out of context for people to dominate and to control. And you see it in many different spheres of many different cultures. That is incredible. Submissive does not mean you're a doormat for somebody to walk all over and to take advantage of and to gratify at any time, any place they want. It just doesn't work that way. Submission means that, I'm going to value you, you're going to value me. I'm not going to overbearing you and take advantage of you and manipulate you. And some people aren't submissive to other people's thoughts, feelings, and boundaries. So when we talk about submission, let's look at it in its right context. You end where another person begins. And if another person has a feeling like I'm in pain, I am not happy, something is wrong here, you need to check it out before you check it off. A lot of women are in very abusive situations. We call them submissive. Back in, countries where women are so oppressed, where they have to put a covering over their head. They have no choice of who they marry, or they cannot own land. They are chattel and cattle. They actually douse themselves in gas and light themselves on fire because of the oppression that they are under, the severity of it. Now, we live here in the United States, and we say, oh, that's terrible, that's Eastern religion. Well, honey, Eastern religion is here. It is here in the United States. It does not just come from a corner of the globe. It has come from antiquity, and it needs to be checked out. Equality is a person for who and what they are, not the gender that they are. That's insanity. My value is not based upon my gender. It's based upon my personhood. And I am a thinking, breathing person, not subject to anybody but God and God's Word. Now, if you are right in line with His Word and you're saying this is what God said, in a kind, gentle, meek, and loving way that Jesus Christ did, I'm all ears. But if you come at me with fist fury and nostrils flaring and veins popping out in your forehead, you don't want to go there. I'm listening. But what spirit are you of when you manifest this, submissive attitude to somebody else? It always, when it's said in the contents, it says, you need to be submissive to. Voila. Right, Ola. Yeah. That's good. What spirit are you of? What spirit are you of when you dominate and control another person? As a swinging pendulum swings and we see people going out of control and we want to bring them back under control, is that our job or is that God's job? Do we just kindly, gently love them and understand where they're at and throw them a line and meekly encourage them to allow God to be God in their life? Or do we regiment them and robot them and get them to line up to what we think? Don't you think that's kind of playing God in some people's life? I played that game, and I'll tell you what, there's only one God. Authoritarianism will hurt a person's spirit. It will crush them. It will take their life away from them. It also takes away the one gift that God has given us, and the greatest gift besides Calvary that God gave humanity was the gift of free will. And when that is overstepped and taken away, what we do is we literally erase the person. They are dead before their heart starts beating and the lights go out. And they're just walking zombies and puppeteers of a puppeteer master who thinks that he is the spokesperson, the end, the beginning of God. And those people are extremely scary. How you spot them is all people look to them.